have big dreams. Don't shoot small, shoot for the stars. It's never too late and it's never too early. I've known people that have retired and said, I'm going to create a business, and then they do, and it's like, goodness gracious, this is blowing up. And these people are 65 and older. These are senior citizens that are creating businesses. And then I've known people that are way younger than me that have created companies that have become massive. It's never too early. It's never too late. Always shoot for your dreams.
Business advice to Trevor 10 years ago. You've got one thing you can tell him. Welcome to the show, Trevor. It's great to have you on.
Bamsey, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
All right. So we're basically going to be covering your entrepreneurial journey. As I understand it, you're only 21 years old and
Yes,
you're
sir.
still in university, and you've already had a successful software business when you were in high school. And now you're looking to transition into AI tools and venture capital as well.
Yes.
Okay. So my first question is just business advice to Trevor 10 years ago. You've got one thing you can tell him.
Don't let age be a factor. I see smart minds who are very young people and smart minds who are very old people, and don't let age be a determining factor as to whether or not you want to pursue your goals. If you have an idea in mind and you have a goal that you want to meet in your life, don't say I'm too young, don't say I'm too old. Anybody can be successful. Anybody can strive to better themselves, to better their lives. So looking back at myself 10 years ago, I would say, I had this great idea for a business, but maybe I'm too young. Maybe that's wait till I'm older. No, don't wait. Pursue those dreams, and I'm excited that I'm having the opportunity to pursue them now, for sure.
Awesome. So if you think you gave this advice to 11-year-old Trevor, would he have jumped into it a few years earlier or not
I would hope
hesitated
so.
as
I
much?
would hope my 11-year-old self would listen to me now. But yes, I would hope so. I would hope so. Young Trevor was a very good version of me, very active, very fit, always playing in the backyard and things like that. So maybe young Trevor would have just wanted to play in the backyard with his friends and things like that. But I hope he would have listened to me. So
Okay, great. What do you think most entrepreneurs are doing wrong today?
I think what they're most doing wrong today is they're not focusing enough on cybersecurity. And I know this is a growing issue. So back when I created Focal Demographics, which was that software company that you mentioned in high school, um, you know, that was created because I know point of computers. I know why computers are in place. And computers assist everybody's lives, but how do you keep them secure? When you're walking down the sidewalk, you're going for a nature walk, that's a recreational activity, just like using a computer. You have the police and you have people to keep you secure and safe. But when you're on the internet, that's a pressing issue, and there's a lot of cyber criminal activity that's going on. A few years back, I was an intern at the National Cyber Forensics Training Alliance, and I got an idea of what the real cybersecurity world is like and the actual high amount of cybercrime that's going on. Currently, in between, that internship and now, I've been working for a cyber forensics organization out of Charlotte, Dark Tower, and I'm an intelligence analyst there, and I get an idea of the vast world of cyber intelligence and what these cyber criminals can do. So, as somebody who works behind the scenes currently in cyber intelligence, I think entrepreneurs now need to focus on cybersecurity, especially if they're creating web applications and things like that, or have an internet
Okay,
presence or social media presence, because social media is a big thing now, and if your social media gets hijacked by a cyber criminal, that can be a very bad image on you and can ruin your reputation. So cybersecurity is something that I think people need to focus on.
okay, makes sense. Yeah, so it's an often overlooked, I guess, point of failure that
It
entrepreneurs
is
should
definitely,
invest in.
definitely, and you see some of these breaches now. I mean, AT&T just had a big breach, and that affected a lot of people. I think cyber defense and cybersecurity needs to be investigated, and also from the open source intelligence side. You have people that are looking from the outside in, like I do currently, and I think open source intelligence needs to be favored a lot as well, not just cyber defense, red team, blue team, things like that.
So what is open source intelligence?
So, yes. So, open source intelligence is basically something that a professional can find on the web that anybody could find. So, for instance, if a cyber criminal is posting on Telegram or posting on Facebook or Instagram about criminal activity to maybe hurt a financial institution or something like that, open source intelligence is intelligence that you don't need to hack or log into a system for. Open source intelligence is something you can create a sock puppet account and just view kind of what somebody is posting on the internet, and then give your client more data on how to work from their back end to stop future activity like that. So it's basically stuff
Okay.
that's already out there. It just takes logic to go and find it.
Okay, makes sense.
Yep.
Interesting. So it also seems like there could be a new generation of entrepreneurs who try to solve cybersecurity problems.
Absolutely. And with Wilson Venture Capital, the venture capital company that I know we're going to be touching on a little bit later in the episode, I'm looking to develop artificial intelligence tools in the future that will help solve open source intelligence issues that companies are facing.
Okay, makes sense. So like you might have an AI that goes out looking for leaks or looking for information that can help prevent cybersecurity attacks in the future.
Exactly, exactly. And AI is such a complicated thing now, but if I draw and if I create artificial intelligence tools based on things that I'm very experienced with, I feel like I can put a front on that and make it easier for the end user or company or purchaser to use the tool and hopefully better their cybersecurity situation or their situation in general for whatever the tool is being used for.
Makes sense. What's the most difficult problem you faced, and how did you solve or approach it?
I think the most difficult problem I've faced in my career, I guess, with cybersecurity, this kind of applies to, is running into roadblocks. Sometimes, when you're doing investigations or you're developing a tool, you run into roadblocks and you think that you've hit a terminal. I'm sure you know this as well. Sometimes, you feel like, oh, I've tried everything and nothing's working. And especially in development, when I created Focal Demographics, I was 18 at the time. I didn't have resources, all around me that told me exactly how to code HTML and CSS and things like that. And I actually specifically remember back when I was coding the maps that were interactive between voter demographics and race. There was some problem that I was having with data and getting the CSS to correspond and present it to the end user correctly. And I tried everything, and it was just very difficult. But I think one of the most difficult things was definitely learning HTML. And with the venture capital organization that I'm creating with my father, some of the most difficult things we're going to run into in the future is HTML. We're hoping to create web based applications for people. So, if you have access to the internet at any time from any device, you can use one of our tools and applications. So I think that was one of the most difficult things was really learning HTML in that coding language. But every time if you keep enduring, you'll meet your goal. You just got to keep pushing forward. Winston Churchill once said, "If you're going through hell, just keep going." So I love that quote, and I kind of live by that.
Okay, makes sense. So that situation kind of taught you perseverance and that there is
Yeah,
a light
and,
at the
and
end of the tunnel, even if you can't see it.
exactly. And being in high school too, it's kind of rough because you're like, oh, like you can't just turn to one of your colleagues that are mature or anything and be like, hey, what do I do here in this situation? You're kind of on your own. So it was pretty interesting. But when you overcome, you have a great feeling inside, and you want to continue to meet your goals.
That's actually a good point you brought up, not having colleagues to turn to. Did you ever have to deal with a sort of sense of loneliness or a sense of like, I have to kind of do this alone?
Not a sense of loneliness because I my dad is currently CIO of a university here in Pittsburgh area, and he was always there to help me with the computer. He's very obviously knowledgeable in computers. My mom has gone to school for programming things like that. I never had a sense of loneliness because I always had my parents there, my friends to support me. But sometimes when there was a certain task that I only envisioned in my mind, I have a very visual mindset when it comes to what I want something to end up looking like. I'll see an entire application in my head before I'll actually type it and put it into the system or create the application on the internet. So when I have it in my head, sometimes I ask people for help, but it's hard to explain to them exactly what I want it to look like and exactly what I want it to do. So yeah, sometimes there is a sense of loneliness when you feel like you're the only one who understands, but the support system I have around me with my family and friends is unlike any other, and I'm blessed to have that support system. But yeah, sometimes definitely. So if you're an entrepreneur out there and you're listening to this, just put your head down and keep going. You're going to be fine. Sometimes that loneliness comes around, but everybody will understand once it's developed and they can see it for themselves. So just keep working at it and keep pursuing your dreams.
There's something I remember coming across this idea of like visionaries versus operators, two sort of
Hmm.
business types. And it sounds like in a lot of ways you are a visionary, where
Hmm.
quite literally you can see the application before you start programming it. So I guess my question for you is in this new venture capital endeavor with your father, what roles do each of you play, and how do you sort of complement each other and fill in each other's gaps?
Well, he's definitely more experienced with the computer than I am, being in the field for so long. But I take a very interesting approach to business. I feel like I'm hard nosed, but I'm easy to work with at the same time. I want the best for my company, and I'm going to put my company and any employees I have in the future first, before anything and everything. But at the same time, with him, he's a very smart individual, and it's great to be able to work with him. But we've talked about this in the past. I think that he is going to be more on the back end side of things, running the computer, keeping the servers up, handling the cybersecurity, like the really in depth cybersecurity issues. And I'm going to be more on the front end, my face out there, promoting the business and running the business operations, managing the bank accounts, things like that. But yeah, he's definitely going to be more on the development side, I think, and I think I'm definitely going to be more on the business and promotion side of it. But at the same time, it's vice versa. I'm definitely going to be willing to help out on the development side, and he's definitely going to be helping out on the business side as well. But our roles will be kind of computer development, business promotion, if that makes sense.
Okay, makes a lot of sense. I mean, so he's sort of the CTO, and you're more of the sort of CEO, COO, and even chief marketing officer, right? Promotion.
Yeah, well, let's put CMO and CTO on it because one of us is not above the other. We're both founding partners in this, but yeah, we're partners. That's what we are. So
Right, right.
we're,
I
we're
just mean the
definitely.
split of responsibilities.
I'm sorry. What did you say?
I just mean the split of responsibilities. So he's handling sort of the technical architecture, system
Exactly.
design.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you're
Yep.
handling
Yep.
the marketing, promotion, as well as day-to-day business operations.
Exactly. Exactly. Yep. And then, like I said, it's interchangeable. If I have an idea and I'm going to hop on the computer and help him out with it, or he has an idea for the business side of it, managing the finances, something like that, he's going to help me out with it. But it's exciting times. It's exciting times for sure. That was a good question.
Nice. And so what is it like to be a business partner with your dad? Because not many people have that opportunity to sort of work as an equal with their father, right?
It's pretty cool because sometimes, when you're innovating in an office with people that you don't live with at home, it can be challenging because you only have so many hours during the day at the office to work. But when I'm here with him, we'll be downstairs in the kitchen or we'll be downstairs doing something and, cleaning out the garage, something like that. We'll be able to talk. We'll be able to talk about our future and we'll be able to talk about what we want to do and what we want this business to become. So every day is like a meeting. Every day is like an innovation practice. It's every day is a tabletop exercise, and we can constantly have ideas and throw them at each other and kind of get one-on-one response. And it's kind of nice. I could just yell across the hallway, to him, "Hey, I have this idea. What do you think we should do about this?" It's pretty neat to have a good business partner in house too.
Cool. Yeah, makes sense. What do you think is the current bottleneck for the business? What's the thing constraining its growth or progression?
I think is publicity. Right now, with focal demographics, that became very popular. I got a lot of media attention with it, and obviously, Wilson Venture Capital is we're just starting up right now. I have big dreams and a big vision for what this company is going to be, but right now, I think it's getting the word out. I think it's kind of explaining to people the AI capabilities that we have and what we can develop and what we can invest in, that we're really trying to invest and create the future right here in house. So I think publicity, I think that if more people can find out about what we are doing and more people can learn about our goals and my vision and my father's vision for our future, I think the publicity is the only thing that's stopping us right now because I know our ideas are intact and I know they're solid. I've ran them past a
Hmm.
lot of different people from a lot of different fields and I know they work. I've developed prototypes for AI tools that I'm excited to roll out here, hopefully before the end of the year. And we just need to get the word out. And if we can get the word out by coming on shows like this, I know you have a large outreach with your audience. You've been very successful, with your podcast and things like that. If we can just get the word out on shows like this and things like that, social media we're going to leverage. I think that's important, and I think publicity is the only thing that's stopping us right now.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah, I remember hearing this on a different podcast. Something like, I think Daniel Priestley said, if you don't know how to generate leads as a business owner, then it really doesn't matter how good everything else is in the business, you can't grow. And vice
Exactly.
versa, if you don't know everything else but you're good at generating leads, you can still make a business grow. So it seems like lead generation is really important. I can recommend a book for you. It's called $100 Million Leads by Alex
Great.
Hormozi. Have you heard of Alex Hormozi?
I have not. No.
I highly recommend looking into his stuff. He's a very prolific business owner, and he actually runs a company now called acquisition.com, and they have a portfolio of companies that's doing over $200 million a year in revenue.
Wow.
And he's known for basically taking $1,000 and in 44 months growing it to about 100 million.
Wow. That's very impressive. And that's something, that we're trying to, I'm definitely going to look into that. I appreciate that suggestion. That's pretty cool. I'll have to take a look at that.
Yeah, I've actually
But
ordered both his books. I think they're arriving today from Amazon, and I'm really excited. So he has one that's $100 million offers. That's just talking about how to craft a really good offer, so good that they don't like they would feel stupid saying no, right? Like if someone offered you a Lamborghini for $50,000 and you didn't have $50,000, you would, ask your friends, you'd ask family, you'd find a way to get
you find a
50,000
way.
to get
You
that
find a
Lamborghini
way.
because
Mhm.
exactly. So when your offer is crafted so well, it doesn't matter whether or not they have the money; they'll find a way because they know it adds more value than the cost, like by far.
That's so true too. And another thing I like to touch on with the publicity thing, I know influencer marketing is a huge area of marketing right now, with
Absolutely.
social media personalities pushing their products and things like that. How I see it is that in the future, when we develop these tools in house, we are going to be creating an affiliate program where we are going to be reaching out to prominent influencers who have social media following of people that really listen to what they have to say and trust them. And we're hoping to earn their trust with our products, and then in the future, give them a commission for sales that they generate for us. I think influencer marketing, and hiring affiliate or hiring, I guess you would say, affiliate marketers to work on commission for you can sometimes be better than just a sales representative that you're paying a base salary. So that's kind of one of the approaches that I have. And any influencer marketers out there, anybody who's an influencer out there, keep an eye out for Wilson Venture Capital when we make our first social media presence, because we're going to be creating an affiliate program and love to have you involved for sure.
Yeah, I'll link you something after this, which is a talk Alex Hormozi gave on specifically influencer marketing.
Hmm.
And also what's really nice is he shared numbers from his companies. So his supplement company, how much they spent on influencers, how much they made. And then he had a software company called Allen that he also sold. And they also spent over $20 million on influencers, and they made
Wow.
back much more than that. And his book launches also, he did influencer deals specifically, like you said, affiliate marketing to get the book launch out there. And he sold over 1 million copies of his book on launch. So he understands that it's very big. And the way he says it is like, if you got The Rock or Taylor Swift to promote your product tomorrow, do you think they could outperform literally anything else you could do for the same amount of time in your business? And the answer is yes, right? Obviously. It does seem like the future of brands is being built on influencers, right? You've got Logan Paul and Prime. You've got Mr. Beast and Feastables. You've got The Rock and his, was it vodka, I think?
Yes,
Or
I believe
he's,
it is. I think he's starting a vodka line. Yeah, I saw that.
or tequila. Tequila, yeah. He did tequila, and then
Is that what it is?
Ryan
Tequila. I knew it
Reynolds
was
did
some type of liquor.
aviation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so everybody's figured out that monetizing their brand is a very successful way to build a business.
Oh yeah, for
So
sure.
what is
And oh, go ahead.
go
Sorry.
no, go ahead, it's fine.
So I was just going to just reiterate that yes, definitely influencer marketing is huge, and that is something that we're definitely going to be utilizing in the future when we release our tools or the web applications that we're looking to release at first. But yes, definitely influencer marketing is something we're going to be leveraging, and I have a firm belief that nowadays an Instagram post by a prominent influencer can be more valuable than just a TV commercial, because you got to think about it. If we're releasing a tool for cybersecurity, we're going to have a cybersecurity influencer promote the tool, and everybody who follows that person is a cybersecurity enthusiast because they like the cybersecurity influencer and they follow that person. So it's actually reaching a target audience that just a television commercial can't reach. So it's pretty cool, neat idea.
Absolutely. And knowing cybersecurity influencers myself, or YouTubers rather, they are the kind of people who will investigate your tool. They'll try to break it. They'll try to hack it, right?
Mhm.
They'll do everything in their power to test it before they promote it to their audience. So once it reaches their audience knows, oh, this has gone through the vetting process by this person
Right.
I trust. So it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I think that's really smart. So what is your current marketing and sales approach or promotion approach?
I think what we're going to do is we're just going to start off with social media. I'm going to
Okay.
create TikToks, hopefully create a TikTok account, and utilize Instagram Shorts and things like that, because that's kind of where it seems social media is going. It's going towards TikTok. It's going to, or not Instagram Shorts, but Instagram Reels and YouTube and things like that. People want to see videos. They don't really want to see images or just flyers anymore. The marketing approach is going to be social media based for sure. I'm not saying that we're not going to have other forms of marketing, but at first you will see a big rollout with our company on social media accounts and creating social media presence and advertising that way. Because I think that's, with a commercial or something like that, you have to film a commercial and you have to go through all these different things and then send it to the TV or the channel company and all that. With social media, I can create and I can think about something I want to tell my audience, something I want to tell the potential consumer of my product, make a video on my phone, and 5 minutes later, it's out to the world. And I think that's a really special thing. And I think that's going to keep us in touch with our consumers a lot better as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that this kind of podcast would have cost tens of thousands of dollars and a production crew,
Right.
just 20 years ago. And today it's
Exactly.
available basically for free.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. And I think that's giving people that may not have the startup funds to create something special on the internet, it's giving them the opportunity to do so. You know, when you're creating a web-based application, you really don't need that much capital to start up. You really don't. It does it benefit if you do, because then you can install, better cybersecurity tools and things like that to protect your company. Absolutely. The more capital when you're starting up, the better. However, if you don't have that much money, that really doesn't prevent you from being an entrepreneur in today's society. You can create a social media account, promote your product for free. So that's a pretty cool thing for sure.
Yeah, and there's this great story of, I'm trying to remember, it was some kind of like mango sweet or like a snack. And
Okay.
one TikTok person made a video about it. And literally all across the country, all across the US, it sold out from shelves. And people were
Wow.
reselling it on eBay.
Hmm.
And it was just an amazing story that a single TikTok could do that. So I think really people are looking to other human beings for
Hmm.
product advice more so than they're looking to corporate sources like commercials.
Hmm.
They're looking to storytelling and personal content. So I really think that's a good approach.
The
And then
power of the power of going viral on social media. It's a great thing.
yes, absolutely, and genuinely adding value to people's lives, right? Because when you get an honest, a positive review from a customer, that means you've changed their life in some way. And I think that authenticity shows through in however they speak, and then the audience can pick up on that and they build trust with you through that. So, what would your sales process look like? Like, let's say you post some TikToks and then someone emails you and says, "Hey, I'm interested in trying the software. Can we chat?"
Yeah. So definitely, listen. Just because I'm a managing partner at the top of the ladder, when this company expands, I want to be there for my customers. I'm not leaving anybody out to dry. If somebody emails me and says they want to talk about a product, and listen, I know there's a lot of people out there that'll be like, yeah, if you're interested in buying this product, at a corporate level where you're going to buy thousands of accounts, for a certain web application, then that's the only way I'm going to talk to you. That's not going to be the case. I want to be there for a sales and a support side for my customers. No matter how big this business gets, I'm going to have my email right on the website. I want people to contact me if they're having an issue with the tool, because ultimately, the end user experience and the customer's experience is what matters most. And if the customers aren't satisfied with the product, they're A, going to cancel their subscription, and B, they're going to diminish the reputation of the company. So that's obviously not what we want. I'm a firm believer that here in America, when you pay for something, you deserve to have it done right, and you deserve to get that correct product. And that's my goal. When somebody pays for one of my tools, or they're interested in buying one of my tools, I want to give them the best experience possible from the point of sale until their subscription ends.
Yeah, Peter Thiel, he founded PayPal, and now I think he's working on Palantir.
Hmm.
In his book Zero to One, he says like really the job of a startup CEO or founder is to always be selling, right? Like they're
Always
always
be.
talking with clients. They're always basically on the front lines. So your approach makes a lot of sense. Being accessible makes sense because every conversation you have with someone is basically a one-on-one advertisement of
Right.
not just your product, but also your company values and how you operate in a
Hmm.
practical sense. And based on how that goes, they might tell their friends or they might not. And so that could be the difference. And I really love this essay from Paul Graham of Y Combinator. He wrote, Do things that don't scale. And he talked about the Airbnb founders, how at the beginning they had a laptop and they would go around knocking on doors and they would talk to people and tell them about Airbnb in that early stage. And they would install it on their laptop if the person was interested and do a demo for them right there. And they did this for as long as they could afford to it. At some point, the founders just didn't have time to do it. But, and looking back, they kind of missed the individual customer feedback they got to have, the one-on-one conversations. So there's definitely this value in cherishing what you have now, which is the capability to talk one-on-one, because you might just be way too busy to do it later, right? So you have to appreciate it.
And that's one of the things too. I genuinely want to form relationships with clients. I think that's important. There are some people that are phony. They'll put up a fake facade that I'm really nice to you, and then as soon as a sale is made, it's kind of like, hey, I'm just going to leave you out to dry. I think personal relationships. I want to form personal relationships with clients and people that buy our tool. I'm not in this just to sell a product, because guess what? We're venture capital. The point of venture capital is to have new ideas. And who knows, maybe there will be a customer down the line that sends me an idea and says, hey, maybe we should work on this. Maybe we should collaborate and create a new tool that I think we could do this together. So maintaining client relationships and building them to be more personal instead of just business related, I think is going to be an important aspect of how we go moving forward.
That's actually really interesting too. Like Alex Ramosi, he says the reason he makes all this free business content is because acquisition.com only invests in companies that are making about 3 million or more a year.
Mm-hmm.
So his free business content is there to feed the funnel to help people who have no money build businesses up to 3 million or more, and then they can potentially work with him. So he views it as a very long game, long-term investment. And similarly, the company Stripe likes to say that their mission is to increase the GDP of the internet. Because if they do that, then they can capture a bigger percentage of it. So they're interested in increasing the size of the whole pie, knowing that their percentage slice will grow absolutely bigger because of that. So in your sense, every client you sell a tool to and improve their business could also become a potential acquisition in the future, which is great.
Exactly. What goes around comes around. If you truly do things, to better the field that you are researching in or developing a product for, if you do things to better that field, I'm a firm believer in, what goes around comes around. If I better the field of cybersecurity and then I make a cybersecurity tool, people are going to see, wow, like look what Trevor did for the field, and now he's selling this tool. Like it must be valuable. He's a good person. Things like that. So I'm definitely a firm believer in business. What goes around comes around.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you envision as the future of the cybersecurity field, and how will Wilson Venture Capital contribute to that future?
Well, we're already seeing this. I was just at a presentation the other day where a company is using artificial intelligence, and you need people to develop these AI tools. But I think there's a lot of mundane tasks, a lot of busy work that's in the cybersecurity field, that there are bright minds that are entry level analysts that are very smart, and they're doing a lot of busy work, collecting data and putting it into a spreadsheet and things like that. And it's not until you become a really high ranking cybersecurity individual that you get to be into the in depth investigations, things like that. So I think artificial intelligence is going to automate a lot of those tasks. And I think that's going to be a good thing, because we need all hands on deck for cybersecurity. There are cybersecurity attacks coming at different companies and organizations in the government left and right. And as many bright minds that want to contribute to the field, we need them focusing on the real issues and really acting on intelligence instead of just doing mundane, busy work tasks. And I think artificial intelligence is going to help more people be able to use their minds for necessary things rather than just busy work. And where Wilson Venture Capital is going to be stepping in there is developing these artificial intelligence tools. We've developed prototypes for tools that are going to be able to expedite report writing, expedite investigations, and things like that. So I think our tools are going to help eliminate the busy work for people in cybersecurity professionals' lives, but also help and take a stress load off of the higher ranking individuals who need those lower bottom feeders to collect and do things. So overall, it's going to expedite tasks. It's going to allow people to use more of their logic and their intention in the field of cybersecurity rather than just continue to do busy work.
Absolutely. I mean, I think this is a great point that many people get wrong. They invert it, where they're so worried about AI taking jobs that they don't realize that AI will actually upgrade jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Just like so many things, right? Like factories upgraded jobs so that people could use factory tools and assembly lines rather than do everything by hand. And
Exactly.
computers upgraded jobs because now we can do a lot more things digitally rather than physically. I don't have to write out a letter to you. I can write an email and type on a keyboard. So
Exactly.
I think, yeah. And there's a really good point you made as well about the future, because one thing that just hit me is if your company is developing these AI tools and builds an expertise of how to automate processes, then, for example, as you figure out sales and marketing and other things, you can also go like, hey, we could build an AI tool that can set appointments instead of having to hire an appointment setter or whatever it might be, right?
Right.
We can build an AI that can send a thank you note and customize it based on research that it does on the client based on their website and their online info. And it turns out that the first 48 hours after a client signs up and pays money actually determines whether or not they will churn out at the end of the year or the end of the month. So I know there was one founder who would send out a handwritten card that he signed. And he did this even as they scaled very large. And eventually someone else would write the note and he would sign it. And they found ways to, make it less onerous on his time. But they still to this day, the client receives a handwritten note, which I think just makes a big difference in the industry. Things like that.
So, and that's one of the things too. You mentioned earlier or a few seconds ago about
Mhm.
AI eliminating jobs. I actually think the opposite. I don't know if you've seen the. This is a children's movie. You may laugh, but the Johnny Depp version of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. This is a
I think I
great
have seen it. Yeah.
example of, you remember the dad in there, he got his job eliminated at a toothpaste factory by a robot. A robot basically back now it's artificial intelligence, but it was a robot that eliminated his job. But then at the end of the movie, he gets rehired as a mechanic who fixes the robot.
Fixes the
So
robot.
just
Right.
just because, we're creating machine learning tools that can technically replace somebody's job, yes, jobs may be replaced, but then guess what? More jobs are going to open up for people that we need people to develop the artificial intelligence tools. We need people to fix them, secure them. So I actually think, let's say we have an artificial intelligence on a very small scale that automates putting data into a spreadsheet. If that job gets eliminated, then you need somebody to develop that tool. So that's one person. And then you need somebody to secure that tool. And that's another person. Then you need somebody to market that tool. And that's another person. So maybe for every job loss, there's going to be three more jobs that open up. So I don't think it's an immediate threat to, jobs in this country. But I definitely hear people's concerns on that. It's an interesting point.
Yeah. And have you heard those stories of like people automating their jobs and then just like receiving a paycheck and just sitting at the office
I
not doing
have
anything?
seen that. I have seen that. That's absurd, especially in the world of cybersecurity. It's absolutely absurd. I've known people that have they call them outsourcing your job. People have outsourced their job to a different country and then they just collect a paycheck. That's just absurd. And measures in those companies need to be in place to make sure that doesn't happen. But yeah, I have heard about that, and it's interesting. You can outsource job, you can outsource to artificial intelligence. It's amazing what AI can do, but I think companies need to be aware of the powers of AI and what people can secretly be outsourcing their work for AI to do. So companies do need to be aware of that. But for a company that is going to be developing artificial intelligence tool, that's not really something that applies to us. But I have heard the stories, and they are wild stories. That is for sure.
Yeah, I have a friend who's 48 years old now, and he's basically retired. He saved up enough money that he doesn't have to work anymore. And for about 20 years, he worked in RPA, which is robotics process automation, I think.
Hmm.
And a lot of it was building spreadsheets, working with VBA, building spreadsheet tools, analysis. And I think he built one tool for his company that's now made well over $1 billion for them easily.
Wow.
Um, but he told me that at some point he realized, that he wasn't really going to get paid or recognized or rewarded for excellent work. So he basically just did, what people call quiet quitting, which is just he would do still good work, but he wouldn't really go above and beyond. And
Hmm.
he told me that, if there was even a simple deal in place, like imagine if he could automate, because he could automate a lot of jobs out of the company, funnily enough.
Right.
Um, and he said, if he could automate something and save the company $1 million and they gave him even 5% of that, he would do it. He would be glad to do it. But the company is not willing to do that for whatever reason,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
But I feel like that's an outdated business approach from the company because, of course, the company should want to save $950,000, right? By
Exactly.
letting someone off. Yeah. So that's my next question for you is what do you think your approach will be to compensation? Like, do you prefer like revenue share, salary, equity, some combination, something unique? How do you want to approach scaling through human talent? And then how do you want to compensate them or partner with them in unique ways?
I think in the world of sales, because what we're going to be doing is at first, and maybe way down the line, we're going to get more developers on our team than right now. But right now, it's just my father and I developing these tools and getting ready to promote them. Compensation, I can tell you right now, is going to be at first solely through affiliate programs, and it is going to be solely commission based. I'm a firm believer
Mhm.
in you get what you put into something, you reap what you sow. And we're going to be offering very, very generous commissions for the affiliates that get accepted into our program. And I think that if a commission is high enough, not an absurdly low commission, but I think there are many companies like Amazon and Walmart that have, commission based programs where social media influencers or just people who want to promote a product and earn a commission off of it can do so and earn a lot of money from doing it. So currently, we're going to be starting with commission based compensation. And I think that is going to be where we'll sit at for a while and see how people do. But once again, the commission rates, I can tell you, are going to be higher than a lot of other companies, which is going to be good for our affiliates. And it's going to give them the opportunity to make some sales and, do a great thing and spread the word on a tool that I believe in, and hopefully they'll end up believing in too. But yes, for starters, people who promote the product are going to be commission based because it's basically how hard you work. If you want to invest your heart and soul into it, you're going to make a lot of money from it. And if you just want to do it here and there, you may not make as much. But the people who work the hardest are going to make the most, and the people who don't work the hardest aren't going to make the most. And I think that that's a really good business model to have.
Yeah, Alex Hormozy also talks about this. He's got like a pyramid for his salesmen, and at the top
Mm-hmm.
is winners win, WW, and at the bottom
Yep.
is losers lose. And he's okay with that, right? And he says, like, let's say you close 50% of the time, then you get to keep your job, right? Anyone below that,
Mm-hmm.
they just churn because there's a minimum standard.
Right.
And then he says, let's say at 60%, maybe you get an attaboy or like appreciation recognition. And then at 70%, maybe your commission goes up a bit, and at 90%, your commission goes up a lot. And so he really wants the people to be aiming to get to that top 10% and the people who are there to be rewarded extremely well because they are delivering a lot of revenue for the company. So it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And the people who generate results for us, we're going to reward in different ways. But the people who aren't generating results, the thing about that is if we roll the dice on an affiliate marketer, and we think, hey, maybe this person can work out for us, maybe this person is really lazy and they may not work out for us. We can roll the dice on it, and it's all about how many sales they generate is how much they make. So if we roll the dice on somebody and for 3 months they haven't posted anything on social media, they haven't promoted us, we could say, all right, you're cut out of our program now because you didn't put in the effort. However, we didn't pay them a salary. We didn't lose anything monetarily besides our time on our end. So I think affiliate marketing is a really great tool for companies to promote, and it's a really great tool for people who want to promote a product because those commissions can be hefty. If you have a social media following or you have a base around you, a lot of friends that buy a tool, you can make a lot of money from it. So I think it's a win-win situation for people that want to work hard with us and affiliate marketers that want to put in effort and team and partner with us.
Yeah, and it's fairly low risk to you, which you made a good point around. And also, I realized something innovative you could consider doing is allocating a percentage of commission to specifically implementing that influencer's feedback as improvements in the product, right? So let's
Mm-hmm.
say it's like 2% or 3%. And that influence, like for example, I'm thinking of Pirate Software specifically. Have you heard of him?
I have not. No.
Okay, I mean, he only recently blew up on YouTube Shorts and stuff, but
Okay.
he's basically a streamer who streams game development. He's a game developer, and he's
Okay.
also been in the cybersecurity industry for over 20 years. So he
Wow.
often talks about cybersecurity issues, um, and he has a very popular following, like now millions of people. And actually, he should be one of the influencers you definitely reach out to because he is still fairly approachable from what I've heard, and he does like to work with companies who have a positive mission and who are helping the world. So it could make a lot of sense for you. But he's also the kind of person who is very honest and he's very creative and he has a lot of ideas. So a deal with him where you say an extra percentage on top of your commission, will be put towards improving the tool based on your feedback and your audience's feedback, that would really incentivize him because he would feel like, oh, I'm actually having an impact on this product. I'm improving the product. And so sharing this with my audience is not just a way to make money and to improve their lives. It also improves the product, which of course then improves his audience's lives even more, right? So
Absolutely,
that,
because
yeah,
if somebody is pushing, they're going to have firsthand experience with what they're following and the people that they are pushing the product to, what they are saying about the product. So, for instance, if we have a social media influencer that's pushing a tool for cybersecurity, the people who follow that person may say, "Hey, like this tool would be a lot better if Wilson Venture Capital put this in it," and then we can have open communication with the affiliate marketer who we have and are paying a commission to, and say, what have your followers said about our tool? Do they like it? Do they not like it? What can we do better? What can we eliminate? And then we can take that feedback and implement it, because they can kind of be the bridge between the end user and the development side of our company, which is a pretty cool thing for sure.
yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And I think a lot of companies don't do this as well as they should. So you will really stand out when you go like, one of the core reasons we have affiliates is actually to improve the product because we
Absolutely,
genuinely believe you can give us valuable feedback through your audience's use cases. So that's awesome. Yeah.
absolutely.
And then one other thing that comes to mind from Daniel Priestley again. So he's a marketer who has a lot of experience growing businesses. He's an entrepreneur. And he talks about the value of basically gathering signals of interest rather than gathering sales. So he tells the story of the Glastonbury UK Music Festival, which is apparently the most popular and successful music festival in the world, even more so than Coachella. And he says that out of the whole year, their ticket sales are only open for 30 minutes, one 30-minute window every year. Uh, and he says they get about 700,000 people to register interest across the year. And then tickets go on sale for only 160,000 tickets total. So most people don't get a ticket. And really, they just send out an email to all 700,000 people and they say, tickets are going on sale at 5 a.m. tomorrow. They'll be open until they sell out, and that's it. So people set their alarm clocks. They wake up at 5 a.m. They're ready to refresh the page and buy it. And people buy it without even knowing which bands are going to be there. That's how in demand it is. And
Wow.
Glastonbury has really mastered this marketing method. So what Daniel Priestley recommends is having a wait list. And just having a wait list can build more demand than if you are super available. So it's kind of the concept of an artificial constraint on supply will help grow your demand more. So let's say you get 50 people to sign up on the wait list saying they're interested in buying your AI tool. You might email back and say, we only have time we can only accept 10 of you right now in the first round. So, signups will be open for the next 48 hours. Here's a link. We'll qualify you through a one-on-one chat with our founder, Trevor, and then
Yeah.
we'll decide whether to move forward or not based on how good a fit you are for us. So, and you
Building.
can actually flip the script, and it's like you're interviewing the customer to make sure they're a good fit, rather than them interviewing you to make sure the product is a good fit. And when you do that,
That's
suddenly
actually,
everyone wants to buy. Sorry, go
and
ahead.
it builds demand too.
Yes.
That's great because $100 bill is valuable, but if everybody has $100 bill, then what value does it hold? But I will say that in our affiliate program, we are planning on vetting these people. We're not
Yes.
just going to have random. Obviously, we're going to be able to tell who they are and if they have a good reputation by their internet and social media presence. But I want to be able to talk one on one with you and see if you would be a good fit for promoting our product. I know there's a lot of affiliate programs. Nothing wrong with this, but there's a lot of affiliate programs out there with especially some of the bigger companies that'll say, "Hey, you know, sign up, put your email in here, and now you're a member of our affiliate program." That's not the goal here. We're trying to have good relationships with our affiliates, but also make sure they're the right person to be promoting our product because we're going to be investing a lot of time in developing these products, and we want the right people to promote them and represent us. Because when somebody's posting about our product and say, "Hey, this is a sponsored post," or "This is I'm generating revenue on affiliate through an affiliate program," they're basically representing our company at that point. And my last name, my father's last name, is going to be on their page. So I want them to represent the values that our company is going to hold.
So, what are the values of your company?
God and family first. God first. We turn to faith in times of darkness, and I'm proud to say that God is playing a big role in the development of this company. And then family first. I never want to let this business get in the way of my relationship with my father or with my mother or anybody else with my family or friends. God and family first. It's going to be based on that. But then after that, building good relationships, like I've talked about this whole episode, with clients, customers, marketers that we end up hiring. Um, I want to build good relationships because if a company goes down, the company may not always be there, but those relationships will always be. And building relationships and lasting relationships with people is important to me. But the company is going to be built on faith because, in my opinion, nothing can be done without God.
Makes sense. Yeah. I know Chick-fil-A, part of what has helped them grow as much as they have is their emphasis on faith
It is.
and their values around that. And also their, the way that they value people and treat people, especially, makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And that's one, the business is not meant to get political or religious affiliated, but if you don't want to partner or purchase my tool because you don't like that I'm a man of faith, then don't. That's okay with me. That's the one thing that's okay with me.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, and I'm sure you wouldn't mind working with atheists,
Absolutely not.
as
No, I,
as
I,
long
I
as they're
love to work with
genuinely.
people. I love to work with people of all different backgrounds. I love to hear their stories, but I'm definitely not afraid to share my faith and to thank God for the blessings and the ones that He's going to be giving me in the future.
Right. And I know at some point you wanted to discuss your college athletics, so let's get into that. What sport do you play, and how do you think it improves your edge as an entrepreneur?
So I play baseball at Gardner Webb University, and something that this is really cool. Athletes hire athletes, and athletes love the business mindset of other athletes. And I think that being on a team and playing baseball has given me an idea of teamwork and what it's like to be on a team and to win. I think something nowadays that's very sad with the next generation growing up is sometimes they're being taught that not winning is just as good as winning, and that's not true. I love to win, and the reason I want people to buy my tools is because I want them to be successful, and I want them to win along with me. So I think that playing baseball has given me a sense of teamwork, and it's let me be a winner, and it's helped me strive to be a winner. It's also taught me failure. Baseball is a game of failure. You look at Hall of Famers that are in Cooperstown, uh, their batting averages can sometimes be 300. That means three out of every 10 times they step up to the plate, they get a hit. The rest of the 7 times, they get out. And I think playing a game of failure is interesting for business because I'm not afraid to get knocked down and get back up and keep trying. So I always tell people like this. I think it's a good talking point. Trevor Wilson, like it's on the baseball, it says Wilson. It's a good point to remember our company and remember my name. But definitely playing a sport and definitely playing baseball, especially since it's such a game of failure, helps you get knocked down, get back up, keep striving for excellence.
The Wilson on the baseball thing made me just think of what is it, Castaway, and
Yes,
Tom
Castaway,
Hanks with
Wilson
the with
Volleyball.
the
He's screaming
volleyball.
when it's going down the ocean. Yeah, that's a great
Yeah,
film.
Wilson.
Tom Hanks.
Yeah, you could probably put that in an ad for
You
Wilson.
probably could.
Anyway,
Who knows? Who knows? Maybe we will. Maybe we'll collaborate with a volleyball influencer one day. You never you never know.
yeah. Um, so, what advice do you have for young, aspiring entrepreneurs who are afraid to take that first step? It seems so risky to them. They read the statistics of how many businesses fail in the first
Mhm.
year and so on. How could you help them sort of take that leap of faith?
Well, obviously, there's a lot of inspiration that I can give, um, which I will in a second. But the one biggest thing is when you're starting a business, for goodness sake, register the business with your state, register that LLC, protect yourself because you never know what's going to happen in the future. You want that limited liability protection that your states offer. Front the first $100, $200, whatever it is, to register the business and protect yourself, your own assets, your own family's assets. That's the first thing. So if you're out there, you're young, you want to start a business, don't think I'm going to, conduct business as a sole proprietorship and then it's too late when somebody comes after you with a lawsuit or something like that. Don't do that. That's never happened to me. Hope that never happens to me because I'm conducting business in a good way and not a bad one. But for goodness sakes, register the business with your state. On an inspiration side of things, the most important thing is never let somebody get you down. Sometimes people will tease you and be like, oh, like, you think you're the next this, whatever. You're very cocky, whatever. Don't be cocky. Know what you're going to do and put that vision onto paper, into a store, on a computer, whatever you have to do. And don't let it consume your life. If you're still young and you're growing up, uh, go outside with your friends. Enjoy outside time. You have all the time in the world. If you're a young guy, you're in high school or whatever. This is something that I'm happy I did. I kept playing athletics. I'm still playing sports. Building a business doesn't have to be your entire life. Spend time with your family, spend time with your friends. You never know how long they're going to be there with you. But yeah, I think for a young mind, have big dreams. Don't shoot small, shoot for the stars. I once heard a saying, actually, back in my elementary school, is something I'll never forget. There was a big sign above the front door when you walked in that says, "Shoot for the moon, and if you miss, you'll land amongst the stars." If you shoot big, you can never go wrong.
Yeah, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I wonder why, so many people, I don't know, they like delay and they hesitate and then they feel like it's too late, or they get tied down by like family and obligations and a full-time job and they feel like they can never start. Where I feel like in today's world, it has never been easier to start a
Right.
business. Like you can do it
I agree.
online.
And
Yeah.
when there was a post I saw on social media, and some of these companies, I saw that fashion designers and things, there have been people that have been 50, 60 years old that have started worldwide known businesses. It's never too late,
KFC.
and it's never too late, and it's never too early.
Right.
I've known people that have retired and said, I'm going to create a business, and then they do, and it's like, goodness gracious, this is blowing up. And these people are 65 and older. These are senior citizens that are creating businesses. And then I've known people that are way younger than me that have created companies that have become massive. So it's never too early. It's never too late. Always shoot for your dreams.
Perfect. I think that's a good note to close out on. Is there any other advice you'd like to share before we wrap up?
No, not at this time. I would like people to, if you have the opportunity, we are going to be starting an Instagram channel, Wilson Venture Capital, at Wilson Venture Capital. Check us out, see what we're doing on there. But like I've reiterated this in this whole episode, just keep striving for excellence. And if you keep striving for excellence, you can never go wrong. Sometimes God will lead you down a different path than you're on. But if you keep striving for excellence and you keep doing what you love, always do what you love. I love developing tools. I love playing baseball. I love working with my father on certain things. If you're doing what you love, it doesn't feel like work, and things get done better and they get done more efficiently, because you're enjoying what you're doing. So, for young people out there, old people out there, whoever it is that wants to start a business, do something you're passionate in. Don't do it because you think there's a lot of money in the field. Do it because you love it, and then the work won't feel like work anymore.
Awesome. Thanks, Trevor. It's been great having you on. And yeah, I'll
Thank you,
put
Nancy.
links
I
in the
really
description.
appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll put links in the description to your social media and
Great.
people can follow you there.
Thank you. I appreciate the time and let me come on the show. I watch your episodes. This is a great show, and I'm honored to be on today.